I go, and a lot of people from Vancouver, I think they'll say this to you as well, it's very like close-knit. People who actually do grow up here, they kind of stay to their bubble. People aren't as friendly. Whereas LA, like, sure, you might actually get someone who's like a piece of shit, but like, you know right away. Or like, I just find people are more like it's, but you just like, you know what you're getting right off the bat.
I like to say LA people wear their shart on their sleeve. They just, if they're a piece of shit, you can tell immediately.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Welcome to Oops All Segments, the very best podcast hitting your eardrums at this very moment. I'm Kevin.
I'm Thomas, and today we are here with our guest, Kaleigh Osadick, the songbird of our generation. That's something I thought of and I felt like saying.
It didn't get me very far. The name did not last very long.
It's a very brief generation, right? It's it's not a wide net to catch. Kaleigh, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you? It's been a long time.
Yes, yeah. We haven't spoken or seen each other in years. But I thought it was time.
It was time. Now is the time.
Now's the time.
Hash out some old shit.
Yeah. bring it all to the table. This is where everyone's gonna hear it. Everyone's gonna get our...
What haven't you guys resolved? Let's get into it. This is Mark Maron, WTF. We're gonna break it down.
Well,
yeah.
Actually, like, I'm already cutting off.
Yeah, no, please cut off.
Since you like brought up I chat a lot, and you got that impression that I'm shy. This has been something that's been like super reoccurring my whole life because I always explain to people they're so taken aback when they're like, you're an introvert, or like you're not super outgoing. Like, I'm very chatty, and people look at me like, oh, this like chatty blonde excited puppy girl, but I'm actually very introverted, and like I get my energy from being more quiet, but everyone thinks I'm shy. I'm not.
Yeah, you see, that's because I spent like time in theater school with you, like sitting in classes and like watching, and like that's like when you spend time like in rehearsal, you get to see what someone's like not as not when they're trying, because they're like sitting in the green room tired after like a 12-hour cue to cue. And so it's like, that's what you're actually like as a person, is that like totally. Well, we usually do start the show off with a bit of a check-in. So what's up with you? What's going on in the life of Kaleigh Osadick?
I am big West Coast gal. I'm currently in Vancouver, but a lot of people don't know where I'm residing anymore. Like, I go to LA quite often now to study, or I'm in a sketch group now that me and my friend actually just kind of took over. So that's been a learning experience, because I don't know how to produce. I don't know what the boom things are. I'm like, are they like a poking stick? What do you do with this?
Yeah,
so it's
you can do that with them. Yeah. Not advisable, but allowed.
So I've been back and forth, and then everyone's like, oh, are you in Winnipeg? Are you in Vancouver? Are you in LA? It just depends on the day they ask.
Well, that's fun. How
you're a coastal elite.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
You're an out of touch liberal snowflake. I'm gathering.
I think it should be an extreme sport.
Yeah. Oh, like coastal, flying, like traveling and living in multiple places. Where in the world is Kaleigh? Is the new game, right? That's
what my mom says, and that's how they start off their messages. Like, where in the world is Kaleigh right now? Yeah,
they've been talking to me, so that's how. I've been coaching them through how to communicate. Amazing.
Between Vancouver and LA. Which city has more personality, more flavor, more texture to it?
Oh, yeah.
I like this question because
make some enemies.
I admit that I kind of had the stigma, not even 4 years ago, of, LA people are probably really flaky and fake. But the more I go, and a lot of people from Vancouver, I think they'll say this to you as well, it's very close-knit. People who actually do grow up here, they kind of stay to their bubble. People aren't as friendly. Whereas LA, sure, you might actually get someone who's a piece of shit, but you know right away. Or I just find people are more but you just you know what you're getting right off the bat.
I like to say LA people wear their shart on their sleeve. They just, if they're a piece of shit, you can tell immediately.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thomas famously despises Los Angeles.
I hate LA, and even the fact that you said some nice things about it, I'm pissed. But it's great glad someone had a good experience there. I got punched in the face by a stranger in
Thomas
in
lived
West
in LA
Hollywood.
For what, a year, 2 years?
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
You were doing improv, or what were you doing down there? You were there.
Yeah, mainly improv, and getting punched in the face was my other sort of focus at the time. So
yeah.
I did some unpaid
psychotic
internships.
agents. Yeah.
I lived with a roommate who was in a cult. I just had the whole LA experience, and then I fled forever.
It was so good. It was so good.
So no chance of going back?
It's one of my least favorite places on earth, but I do my girlfriend Kim does kind of like it. So if something exciting happened in her career, that would be the one thing that would drag me back there. But I'm really fighting not to.
You're sort of trying to sabotage her career, right? That's why
I hope so. Yeah, if she could stay kind of unknown largely in kind of the national theater scene, that would be huge for me.
Hey, you make it, but not in LA, like all the
Make it on my terms. Yeah.
Thomas would love it if Kim was to blow up in the Winnipeg theater scene. That would be his ideal situation. Speaking of which, T-Bone, how's things out in the Chi-Town? What's new with you, buddy?
Oh, they're pretty good. Tonight this is the most Chicago event of all time that I'm going to tonight. It is a comedy show hosted at a hot dog restaurant pop-up. And the restaurant is known for people being rude to you when you order. It's called the Wieners Circle. And our former guest of the pod, Chris Turner, is performing there. So I'm going to go see that and get a hot dog and watch some comedy. It'll be weird, but I'm excited.
That's fun. It's a bit of a weird premise to imagine doing a comedy show in a venue that's like that Karen's Diner style place where they're like, let's insult you. Like, it just feels like the atmosphere is already primed for the worst type of comedy. I'm not saying those diners are bad. I think the concept is funny, and I get the appeal.
And I think this one's a little different. Like, there's sort of Ed DeBevick's is like the one where it's like, come in, you better have a sense of humor. We're gonna roast you. This one is more they're just like, get your food
dumb,
and
you asshole when you walk in.
No, they're more like, get your food and get out. Like, it's just like, we have no time for this. Don't like dilly dally. Like, what the hell do you want? Like, they
just run their restaurant the way that like a bunch of line cooks wish it was run.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's fair and makes sense to me. And
it's
actually, honestly, it's a little
Chicago
appealing.
Charm.
Do you think there ever will be a Karen-themed diner?
Oh,
like a
where
fully,
everyone calls the manager, no matter what happens,
and it's just like chaotic, and like all like the servers, everyone is like super just uptight.
Oh, that's interesting. Like,
that's fun.
Because I'm pretty sure there is actually like a gimmick diner called Karen's Diner, but the premise of that one is like Dick's Last Resort or whatever it is, where they're just like rude to you. What you're describing is like where the entire staff are made up of like it's bob-cutted, angry, middle-aged women.
Everyone, staff, the customers, like the wallpaper,
and
like
they all have way too much time to like to like waste.
Open 24 hours.
Yeah,
incredibly fragile Type A girl bosses who just
and it takes 6 hours for you to get your meal because they're arguing with you over every element of it, but. The
Google reviews is just flowing with like paragraphs and paragraphs.
I do like the idea of a chain of people asking to speak to the manager in the Karen Diner, and they're just all deferring to a different manager and asking to speak to a separate district manager to like deal with the manager request from the other person.
A network of management from Karens. I like it. That's actually not a bad idea. That's fun.
How are
That's
you,
exciting.
Kevin?
Me? I am fine. I am doing fine. I always act a little surprised when you want to ask about me?
My turn out of 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. It's my turn already. This guy. No, I'm good. I didn't think of something to talk about before we recorded today, but I'm going to see a comedy show tonight as well. Actually, previous guest of the show, Kristen Anderson, is doing a show at Barnhammer Brewing that I'm going to go see.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that. We just did like a D&D record last night. I'm very like creatively busy right now, as well as trying to balance a bunch of stuff with work. And also I am going to like Minneapolis in a week and then Chicago in like 3 weeks. And so my schedule is just very full, and I've got a lot of I feel like the spinning plates. I'm doing a lot of plate
You
spinning.
need to train for the extreme sport that is.
Yes, yeah. In your my life is sort of like the microcosmic version of the extreme sport of your life, where you're like traveling around to different places. I do that, but it's all in Winnipeg. And it's hard and it's difficult.
And Winnipeg's spread out, so that's like no one should underestimate that. Like,
it takes an equal amount of emotional effort to get from LA to Vancouver as it does to get from my house to the north.
You summer in Transcona. That's like your version of.
Yeah, I'm a snowbird. I fly just a little south for the winter, which is to Morden, Winkler. Yeah. T, should we ride our way into a warm-up segment?
Are Morden and Winkler south of Winnipeg?
I don't know, man.
Winkler,
I don't know my fucking...
Morden's for sure south, I think. Winkler, I think, is a little bit off.
Eat shit, Thomas. Eat total shit.
Kaleigh, do you have to be the smartest person in the room? Is that...
it normally doesn't happen, so when I have the opportunity, I'm going to jump. I'm going to take it.
Just feels like you're showing off because you're new here, and that's fine. But just understand where your bread is buttered, and that
serious
is...
consequences.
Yeah.
Because I go to LA, my bread is not buttered. It is actually avocadoed. With gluten-free. All the...
That's
Dude,
fair. They don't use butter in LA. They use
guacamole.
guacamole.
Let's go. Okay, I like you again. I'm not mad anymore. Why don't we skip? We've been doing a segment for a long time.
Yeah.
Where I ask our guest a personal question and then they insult me. And we're going to not do that segment today, Kaleigh, but I'm still going to bring it up.
Personal questions.
I'm still going to bring it up, but we're not doing it. It's been retired. So instead, we're going to do a warm-up segment.
Okay.
And we are going to spin the wheel and do something at random. Woo!
Sounds like my brain most days.
Oh my god.
Okay, all right. We got number 70, villain monologues. Participants must come up with absurd villain names for one another and then present villainous monologues as those characters.
I see. So we kind of got to pass around suggestions for sort of what was it? Names? Was it villain?
Yeah, so we'll come up with like a title, like the Riddler or whatever, for each of us, and then we'll present a sort of origin story or a monologue expressing that villain's point of view and their sort of tactics and all that stuff.
I'm going to give you, Thomas, I'm going to imbue you with one here.
Okay.
I'm going to offer you Squeaky Wheel.
Okay.
The Squeaky Wheel.
That's
you. Yeah.
Great.
It's going to be you.
To you, Kaleigh, I am going to offer you motion capture.
Mocap is genuinely a pretty good villain name. Like,
motion capture.
I think it's a character in Mortal Kombat, Mocap, and he's literally wearing the blue suit with the balls on him. But I didn't mean to make that connection, so ignore that. Motion capture, however you interpret that.
And Kevin, you are going to be King of Pine Needles.
King of Pine Needles. Okay, sure thing. And we're doing a villain monologue?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have any music? Could we do an underscoring of some kind of sinister music, perhaps?
Yeah. Give me a few seconds here, if you can set the scene for a second.
Yeah. Okay. So imagine a hush falls over the press conference. The president does not appear. In his place, there is a lone spotlight that emerges, and this sort of slippery, circular man kind of rolls onto the stage as he gradually rotates into place at the microphone and begins to speak. People of the press, thank you for joining me today. You might not know me well because no one has ever taken the time to truly know me, to love me, to hold me. All my life I've been neglected, forgotten, just because I invented the wheel thousands of years too late. That clever Neanderthal stole my idea, and nobody thought that I was clever when I independently also thought of it. But I will make you adopt my wheel, which is an octagon shape and isn't quite as efficient as the original, but still works pretty well. And to force you to accept my demands, I have lubricated this entire chamber. Each of you is covered in a slippery fluid that will prevent you from touching, hugging, embracing your fellow humans. For you see, I was never embraced or loved. And now, my command is here. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. You're all greased up and you can't hug each other. Goodbye! Good night! By my octagon.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I loved that, T. I loved it.
Thank you.
All right. Are you ready, Kaleigh?
Let's give it a go.
Okay.
It's dusk. It's a busy picture, a big, like, metropolitan city. Lots of people walking around. Like, almost everyone's got somewhere to be. And then you see this eerie, disfigured woman stand there watching everyone. And she looks around and says, "How much time do I have to stand here and see everybody ignore me day after day? I'm tired of this fast-paced economy. Everybody needs to slow down and pay attention to me." I have a plan. I'm going to slow down this entire city by killing them off one by one. Then there'll be no more demands, no more fast-paced walking, no more deadlines, and the world will be mine.
It's beautiful. Capturing all the emotion by being a serial killer, I think, which is
Getting rid of all the motion.
Yeah,
we have to slow down and pay attention, like be a bit more mindful. And to do that, I'm gonna kill everyone.
Yes. Okay. I was the king of pine needles. All right, here we go.
That's right.
We see a forest. It is a forest frosted over by the icy winds of the winter. And a small village bustles about in the wide shot as we zoom in. And then we see closer images of these families in this village, and everybody seems destitute. Everybody seems like they are unable to kind of make ends meet. People seem like they're sort of quickly doing whatever they can to survive as they move around. And up on a hill in the distance of this village is a humbler than one might expect, but still larger than all of the other dwellings in the town, a wooden castle. And inside of this wooden castle, there is a large throne room, sitting at the center of which is a incredibly short and stout man with a very bushy beard and no hair atop the top of his head, but a very sort of spindly crown placed above it. And a peasant sort of begs for his graciousness as he looks down at him and simply says, "You only get green." And then more pine needles rain down upon this peasant who has to eat the pine needles, and the monarch slowly
only get green.
That's right. Everything is evergreen. And he walks over the peasant and looks out of his crappy little balcony into the shitty town that's all suffering.
This villain is such a loser.
He's the king of pine needles, man.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
I like that your villain monologue was 1 sentence long.
Listen, I was running tech, okay?
That's good.
I couldn't think that line a lot during Christmas.
I genuinely meant for my one-liner to be "Now everything is evergreen," but I fucked up, and then I forgot
and I called
my lead
you
up.
out.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm glad.
I also like that
it.
you described him like a little teapot man. He was short and stout.
Yeah, well, what's more intimidating? That always scared me the most. Was the
obviously this wasn't included in the description, but marry, fuck, kill, motion capture, the king of pine needles, or squeaky wheel.
I think like you've gotta marry the king of pine needles because he's got himself set up, right? Like I don't want to marry a serial killer, and I'm not keen on marrying like a grease monkey.
I think I'd marry the squeaky wheel because he's an inventor.
We'd all marry ourselves.
He's an innovator. I do think, you don't want to. I think I'm gonna kill the king of pine needles for all that bullshit he said.
What?
And then I'm gonna have one glorious night with motion capture before she murders me.
I was gonna say, I think I'd kill myself because like you gotta kill the motion caption before she kills you, and
it's dangerous. She's dangerous.
You're just protecting yourself. Just
right.
remove yourself.
The king of pine needles is an oppressor, and the squeaky wheel is an annoyance. But she motion capture will kill you. So there's that.
And then one night with squeaky wheel because I don't know. I think being set up in a conference room, like you have to have something going for you, some like business. You could like. I had like fun time, might have money, I don't know, and then marry the Pine King guy.
You see, I feel like the one night with Squeaky Wheel makes sense because they get the grease, right? Like I feel
Except that in the canon of this character, which I created, he's so slippery that you can't physically like make contact with him. So having sex with the Squeaky Wheel would be a bizarre experience. You'd sort of be bouncing off of each other. It would be.
It would be like it would just be a bit like, oh man, where the hell did it go?
The sound cue note. That's okay. It would be a bit like this.
Thomas just.
And I'm just gonna say it one more time.
Please,
I think
just give me one more.
Having sex with the squeaky wheel might sound a little something like this.
Oh my.
That sounds right.
There we go. That's what I was trying to do. It took so long.
And timing is everything in comedy, and we got there.
We nailed it.
Oh my fucking god.
That was great.
Yeah, it was something.
Bird up.
I think it's time for us to take a quick little ad break, talk to the viewers. Well, we won't talk to the viewers, but someone else will about another podcast that isn't this podcast, and then we'll be right back with Kaleigh Osadick on Oops All segments.
Webster's Dictionary defines podcast as a domesticated, odd-toed, hoofed mammal with a great affinity for oats.
That's a horse.
Oh, right.
But we are a podcast, and we're called Roommate Lovers.
We do advice questions such as, why is my roommate using my toothbrush?
How do I flirt without being creepy?
Why are you using my toothbrush?
I told you, I just couldn't find mine that day. We live together and are together, which is why we call the show Roommate Lovers.
We're roommate and lover. We're roommates and lovers.
Well said.
Gross. Find new episodes of Roommate Lovers on Mondays wherever you podcast.
Now that's a podcast of a different color.
You mean horse?
Yes, of course.
We are back. Kaleigh.
It's like we never left.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we never left, partly because we may not have. Do you have a segment for us?
I do.
Whoa.
So I'm like known for like the person at the party when like everyone just wants to continue like drinking and having fun. I'm like, let's ask some questions. So I don't know if you guys have heard. We're not really strangers. It's not that game, but something similar. So I was thinking, I'm like, what could be something like topical I talk about or a game? And you know this whole like cancel culture thing, everyone's like, no more this, no more that. I was like, let's take a little spin off of that. But I made some of the questions a little bit more fun with like the odd deep one. So I call it cancel or keep.
Cancel or keep. I like it.
And so I have a few kind of concepts or ideas where I will ask you and myself as well answer, would you cancel it or would you keep it?
I got it.
Or if you don't know and it's up for debate, we can discuss.
Sure.
Great.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. What's the first cancel or keep candidacy?
Would you cancel or keep horoscopes and why?
Oh.
I feel gonna piss a lot of people off with my very strong and stubborn views that we don't need this shit. Cancel it. I actually, going back to LA where everyone loves horoscopes, I dated someone in LA who looked up our horoscopes and said, hey, according to this, we're really compatible because we both like to have fun. And I thought that was not specific enough. Yeah, exactly. And I don't like to have fun. I like
I was going to say, they don't know you at all.
You don't know
playing
me.
Zelda and doing this fucking podcast, which I hate. So those are the two activities that I do. It also said that we'd be sexually compatible, and that too was debatable. So I will say, cancel horoscopes.
Yeah, exactly. I am also of the mind that though I enjoy a horoscope and I think it's like all good and fun, we live in a day and age in which too many people are manipulated too easily by things that are maybe not well thought out enough. And I think that when things are harmless fun, they're fine, but no, I got to cancel them. I think that there's I think the harm that bad horoscope interpretation does is so severe that I gotta say, I don't get enough out of it to see it there. Now I'm also a skeptic. I don't think any of it means anything. So I don't.
That's fair. Although both what you guys said is a very Scorpio answer. I just will say. No, I'm just kidding.
We're both Leos. We share a week.
This is
Are you a
something
Leo
else
too,
that
T?
someone said. I said I was like, I'm a Leo, but I don't act like a Leo. Like people are surprised when I say I'm a Leo, and they're like,
right.
But that's what makes you such a Leo. And I'm like, not everything can confirm the theory. Like, if you're not like one, you are.
What's your sign, Kaleigh?
Or like the opposite, where like people who don't really know you get, and you tell them like, yes, and I'm like,
yeah.
No, yeah. Are you? What are you? What's your sign?
I'm actually, I'm the same. I think cancel, but I think it transitioned. Like I believe that people should believe something if it resonates with them. So myself personally, I'm one of the few who's like, I don't believe in horoscopes, but I believe in mine.
Oh, wow.
It's true, but not about all of you, just about me.
Like, but I resonate with mine, but I also agree with cancel just because I think people are misinterpreting it and using it for like, like, sorry for being a shitty friend, like, my Venus is in my whatever right now.
Whatever.
Yeah, you can use it to justify.
You know?
Yeah, so I feel like I do think like most things, I just think like one of the biggest cheat codes to being a human is admitting your own ability to fail. And I think that like if you're able to just be like, yeah, I fucked up because I suck sometimes, it's way better than being like, it's because like there's something, because like even if that was true, which it might be, but even if it was true, if everybody doesn't believe it, it doesn't matter. If Venus isn't in retrograde or whatever the fuck it is, like it just doesn't matter.
It's
if
so
I don't believe
pervasive. It's weird because I think like as a culture we're much more secular now. Like religion is a smaller role, but horoscopes are like everywhere, and there's sort of this new, more I think individualistic spirituality that comes out of like that kind of thing, and like personal guidance and like manifesting whatever you want to achieve and things like that. So it's an interesting shift in our culture. Like we don't believe in God by and large, but we do believe in these other forms of like mysticism kind of. Not that, I mean, I find organized religion less objectionable than horoscopes because it has a rich history that I appreciate despite the harms. But I'm getting too serious. So my favorite cheat code is a human big head mode.
I chose this one as
Thomas.
I chose this one as a warm-up one. Like,
yeah. You got started. Yeah,
I'm hot
Thomas.
now. Okay.
Thomas was talking about the benefits of organized religion.
Next, critical race theory. Cancel or keep. Oh my god.
Yeah, she just gets more and more specifically political. What's next, Kaleigh? What are we canceling or keeping? And just buy that record. That means horoscopes dead. We killed them, right? They're gone. Goodbye, horoscopes.
We're the official.
Jesus Christ. It's louder than I thought it was going to be. I'm sorry.
That's the sound of making love to the king of pine needles.
All right, what's next?
Next one, I put baby showers, but hear me out. I'll go first.
Okay.
So I put this because I want to keep baby showers, but I think my intention of bringing this up is the discussion of we celebrate like proposals and baby showers, but then like what about your 35-year-old friend who like no one has like a hurrah party where like gifts and stuff are being given. It's like we're all saving these gifts. I love kids and I love like all my friends, but it's like sometimes you spend a lot of money to go to these showers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, what about the fact that I just
Sure. Yeah. Like what about the sacrifices made? I mean, it's the as we get older and the economy gets worse.
I guess what I'm saying is, like my answer is kind of both, but you want
to keep them. It sounds like you want to have like a non-baby shower. It sounds like you want your friends to throw you a party for not having children. I'm gonna go get a vasectomy and then ask my friends to throw me a party and be like,
But you know what I'm saying? Like I agree with them and I keep them, but I would keep it, but I feel like there's more to celebrate than.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think there should be, like, when I bought a PS5, my friend should have thrown a party for me and bought me stuff and like. Because for me, that is my child, you know.
When Kara moved into my house a year ago, she brought in with her 3 cats that I now have to parent, and I adopted those cats, and I don't feel like anybody has come in with celebratory gifts. I don't think anybody's come in.
You expected a fucking parade when you adopted.
Yeah, and I burned a forest down to reveal those cats' genders, and nobody cared. It was fucked.
Reveal their genders.
The youngest one when they moved in, I think, was 4. But yeah,
I think gender reveals are much more controversial. Like that would be an easier cancel for me. Baby showers, it does seem like I completely agree. I'm in that phase of life where I have like 2 or 3 weddings a year, and I'm spending all this money traveling and like getting people gifts and flying out and like doing bachelor party. There's so many different things that like eat up cash.
Yeah.
And I do think sometimes if you're always the groomsman, never the groom or whatever, you should get a gift too. Like
I feel like we need to institute cultural punch cards, right? I feel like if you had like a punch card where it's like you've been a guest at 10 weddings in the last 5 years, you get your own little mini wedding party for yourself. That's not a wedding, but it's like a little celebration. And then, because I don't want kids. I don't want to go to a baby shower. Yeah. I've been to baby showers before. I think they're fine. I have friends that have invited me, and if you're a friend of mine and you've invited me to your baby shower, know that I didn't hate my experience there. I also think that like gift giving as a culture is a strange way for us to show love in the current materialistic way that we live our lives. So like I think that because there are like 60 like Thomas, this is an example that is not very well tied in, but Thomas in 1 year received like 6 different ice cube trays as a present. Or no. What was the other thing when you were fucking living remotely?
Really,
you got
like ice.
He does ice baby. But
I have about 4 meat thermometers.
Yeah. Thomas got like, and I'm just like, this is not like, I think the idea of like a community coming together to support a child and say, hey, we want to give you what you need to get that kid out in the world and stuff like that. All of that where it's like traditionally founded, community based. Fine. I see all of the benefits, but when it's like, hey, can you buy me a stroller and can you buy me like another stroller and then like I need like I don't know, it just feels a little nutty. You know what? I'd be down with baby showers if I think that people were giving used shit instead of giving new gifts. I think if everybody if the expectation for gift giving was to like repurpose stuff that you already had, I'd be like, this is actually kind of fuckwittable. I think, yeah. That's my. So anyway, I'm not canceling them, but like you, Kaleigh, I think there could be some pivots. I don't feel like, as somebody who doesn't want kids, I feel like I don't have stake here. Like I feel like I should.
You should be able to have an ambiguous party called a maybe shower, where something's happening, but you don't have to reveal to anyone what it is. Some change is impending.
A maybe shower is really good. Yeah, I'm taking some notes here. I loved it. Anyway, that was really loud again. I gotta turn down the soundboard.
Cancel or keep, or like cancel or change the common first impression people get from you. So the most common first impression you guys have gotten, would you want to keep it, or are you hoping that it would be something else?
Like essentially, this is like, am I happy with the first impressions I usually make? That's a deep question.
Kaleigh, I feel like you could tell me.
I'm known for the deep questions.
Yeah, you drive it right in.
Tell me today what impression I gave off,
because you don't really know Thomas that well.
Super well.
That's true. I remember I almost made the comment when we started. I was like, Kevin, long time no talk, and Thomas, no talk.
No time, no ever.
No Time, No Talk is the sequel to No Time to
Die. First impression. Well, it's kind of because like I obviously know of you and who you are.
Sure.
And so
obviously. Who would,
Thomas?
I also know, without knowing you, that you've like done all these things. So you've gone to like LA and Chicago. And like you teach and you act, and so I remember thinking, wow, this guy's very like driven and versatile. So I feel like that would probably be my actual first impression. And then today my first impression was I only watched one of the segments you guys had, and the cat and dog thing came up. So I was just like
and then we cut it.
Like I already kind of had that, like not had that answer, but
that's out of curiosity, since we did this,
we've worked our way back to it, and we are going to do this every episode, whether we like it or not.
Change the name of the show to Cat or Dog. Yeah. Is Thomas the cat or a dog?
Cat, but like not for the reasons like you think. Like, because again, I was like, well, I don't really know him. And so I was gonna say like cat, just based on like I'm allergic to cats, and so I don't touch them.
Oh no!
So the reason he reminds you of a cat is that you feel like you can't be near him.
No, I just
your eyes are puffy.
Actually, one was red before I started, and I think So
it's because of the show.
My point being was, whenever I'm near them, they get really, I feel like they're drawn to people who are really standoffish with them, and so I can never tell what they're thinking. So I was like, oh, but I don't know Tom, so I can't tell what he's like thinking, because I don't know him. So like that's honestly the reason I would just that. And then Kevin and I would be like, your hair is nice to touch. It looks like. So my answers weren't going to be as deep as you thought.
That's good. No, that was pretty deep actually, and I think there's an interesting thing to be said here of a lot of people's first impression of me as a cat. So I feel like I do want to change it. I want people to think of me as a dog. But it also made me think of my dad. His superlative in high school was the most mysterious boy, which that's an incredible
mysterious
title.
Boy. Who's the mysterious boy in the corner?
The most mysterious boy.
And wow,
that is a hot accolade to get.
Yeah, it is. Although I think at the time it was bullying, but but when one of my exes described me as having no mystery at all, being like, what you see is exactly what you get. It was sort of a compliment, but it was like, you just are you. Like you just kind of get the idea, and then that's basically what it is.
I actually don't think that that's true. As your dear close friend, and I don't want you to carry that negative thought with you. That's not true. You have an air of mystery about you. I know you very well, and there's still things about you I don't know.
And I still hide every precious feeling and thought from you.
Yeah. Yesterday we did a record, and you sort of logged off as fast as you could, which was kind of, you said like sort of I gotta go, and which is like a normal kind of behavior for you. You don't really like we show up, we do the show, we work really hard, and then that's it. Like you don't talk to me after.
I gotta bounce. Honestly,
Now?
soon too. So yeah, I'm gonna change my first impression, Kevin.
I really, really don't know what people's first impressions of me are. I think like
They ain't good.
I think like I do a lot of code switching. I think like when I because I have a lot of different like sort of roles in my life where I'm my status shifts a lot depending on where you meet me and what I'm doing. So like if you meet me at work and I'm at my restaurant and I'm running things and I'm trying to get people to listen to me and find things and get things done properly, it's much more likely that I'm going to have a different first impression than when you meet me. Even if you were to, like, there's lots of people who have met me on this show for the first time, and my energy on this show is not like my energy at the restaurant. I'm not going into like screaming at my staff like a psychopath and like playing loud sound cues throughout the restaurant so they get their job done. But no, I think I'm quite, I mean, I don't know, I'm pretty comfortable specifically with who I am and how it's received. So I think I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, truthfully, I think you give a great first impression, like an amazing first impression, and it is all downhill from there. Like there's this first like, wow, like this guy is so smart, he's so charismatic, but like the deeper you know Kevin, it's harder to sort of like reconcile the kind of the unchangeable flaws about you, I think.
I was
Kaleigh, how about
really
you?
okay.
I agree with what Kevin said too. Like I think I've realized over the last few years, like it changed depending on who you're with and where you are. But for sure, like growing up, it was either always clumsy, which is very accurate, or like quiet, which like now it doesn't bug me because same thing. Like I know who I am and what that actually means. And I know that I'm actually not quiet and shy. I'm just like very observant and introverted. But growing up, I would have probably wanted to change it because I think it did affect like
Kevin is crying. Continue, but Kevin is openly weeping.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
No, let me hear more about. So, what people thought you were shy? That must have been kind of discouraging.
Because I feel like when you're young and you don't like obviously like know yourself, you don't put in like the work that you do when you're older. You just believe what you hear, and so I'm like, oh, I am quiet, I am shy, and I think that actually did prevent me from speaking up in certain groups unless I was like doing theater, doing other things. So I probably would have changed it to even just something like kind or like open, but yeah.
And Kevin snap out of it, but I can see how like that self-fulfilling prophecy of people describing you a certain way would influence your personality. And Kevin, buck up, time to do the fucking show. But Kaleigh, so
okay, I'm back.
He's back.
I was so even like I didn't even like.
Hey, damn son, where'd you find this? Smoke weed, smoke weed every day. Smoke weed, smoke weed.
Drag and he's happy again.
Oh my god, that was such a mistake. And also, I feel like the lesson that I was trying to teach people was that if your friend is mean to you and you cry, you should get high, and that's not what I. Oh, fucking hell. Oh God.
Okay.
Thomas, keep moving the show along.
Yeah. Kevin's out of commission for a new reason. Do you have another? How many
I
more
do,
of these
but
do we
I
have?
have one more, and it's like a fun one. So
Yes.
no
Okay,
more
let's
deep,
do it.
no more deep shit with getting in touch
No
with
more
our feelings.
crying, no more tears, L'Oreal kids.
Crocs, cancel or keep.
Oh wow. You know, I've never worn Crocs. Kara just bought me these like puffy cloud slides that I just actually left upstairs. But I've never worn Crocs. Have you ever worn Crocs, Thomas?
I have once, but I've never owned them. I will say I was at a wedding. They brought out a little box of like cheap Crocs for all the women to put on instead of their high heels and stuff. And that was a very nice gesture. They were able to like enjoy and be comfortable for the wedding, and it was sort of like you can dress down a little bit. So for that reason, I'm keeping the dang things. I like them.
Okay. Yeah. Kaleigh, are you a Croc fan?
I used to be, but now I'm like, what's the point? Like they're not really comfy. Like I will wear them in like things will poke through, and like I've got my foot. They like
Oh,
slip
wow.
off.
Okay.
They like break easily.
And they're kind of expensive, aren't they? Like, or are they cheap? I don't know. You said they were cheap, but I don't know if they are.
There cheap ones exist.
I think you get high-end ones that might be a little bit more. But
they're expensive Crocs, bougie Crocs, Louis Vuitton Crocs. I'm in. So you're canceling them, and you're keeping them, T?
I'm keeping them.
I have never engaged with them in a normal way, but I think I'm going to cancel them, and I'll tell you why. Because you know what a real crock is? A real crock of shit is this fucking show that I have to do every goddamn week with some. Well, yes, I do, because I have an impulse to create, and there's only one person who does it with me, and so I have to do it. And there's a stupid little fucker who lives in Chicago who thinks it's fun to like
join the podcast.
Thinks it's like fun to like have people on and then drag me.
You love collaborating with me.
I mean, my defense, I asked deep questions.
Yeah.
It is your fault, actually, Kaleigh. It is your. You know what? Fuck you, actually.
But you're in a safe space, and you know that's not how we actually like feel. So I think this is like a good.
That was a healing moment. But I think if you want to really heal the wounds from this podcast, Kaleigh, if you could just pull out your phone.
Oh yeah,
and open the podcasts app.
If you have an iPhone and you use the Apple Podcast app,
and
what
then
podcast
rate it.
App?
Apple Podcast, preferably. Yeah.
Apple Podcast. You know,
this is a new segment that we have on the show.
Rate it 5 stars.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
We're gonna make you do that on air. And if you're listening at home, a fun thing that you can do along with the rest of you can actually play along with the guests. You can put yourself in Kaleigh's shoes here. Figure out what it's like to be what was your sign, Kaleigh? I asked you a couple times, but I don't know if you got me.
I'm an Aquarius.
You're an Aquarius. You can put yourself in the shoes of an Aquarius like Kaleigh and give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts right now.
Yeah. The Aquarius urge to like and subscribe to Oops All segments.
Okay.
That was the game. It was fun, right, Kevin?
It was I have never experienced the high and low that I just experienced when Thomas said I gave an amazing first impression, followed by it being the worst experience, that it's all downhill from there. I was on cloud 9, I want to say, and now I feel like I'm on proud 9. I'm a proud boy now.
Okay, so
he made me so insecure that I've found the alt-right. Uh-oh. Looks like I'm voting against my interests now.
Maybe I can turn on my people. Kaleigh, is there anything you'd like to plug now that we are you can
plug
show
something
has been
if you
canceled rather than kept because Kevin is all right.
I enjoyed being on the show as long as hopefully you guys didn't regret it.
You destroyed our friendship, but that's fine. It happens on a nearly weekly basis. Is there anything that you want to point people to?
This is a good learning, I think, because I'm in this phase of my life of just being authentic and vulnerable. And I think, like, even when it comes down to, like, normalizing having, like, deep conversations or even going on a date and being like, what's your attachment style? Like, I kind of want to point people to, not to make people feel bad or sad, but live a life of just be open.
Yeah.
You're plugging authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn.
Holy shit.
It started to make me regret some of the, absolute dumb shit I said this whole time.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you don't have much to worry about, Thomas, because you're so authentic that when people meet you, it's exactly what they get right away. So it's fine.
If you do belong in LA. Okay, I need to stop. Exactly. You guys need to cut me off before I make both of you guys mad.
I'm a fake hater, and I'm gonna own that. And isn't that the true villain monologue?
Wow. This whole show is a bit of a villain dialogue.
Yeah, a villain triad.
Trialogue.
Yeah, if you like the show, you can and subscribe and rate us 5 stars. You can check out our other podcast, What We Do in the Basement. It's a D&D podcast with some other funny folks. You can also check out the link in our bio and submit some segments.
At this point, I'm also going to start plugging the fact that Club Soda Improv is probably about to perform at the Winnipeg Improv Festival. So if you want to catch myself, you want to catch Luke, Thomas won't be there this time, but you'll catch Luke, myself, Jesse, Carrie. It doesn't matter. I don't need to list all their names. They've all been guests. Come see us. We're at the Winnipeg Improv Festival. Find us, Club Soda Improv. And check out what we do in the basement. Check out other episodes of this show. Check out Being Authentic. Next time you go to buy gas, tell the cashier what's going on in your fucking life.
Exactly how many dollars you have in your account when you every time you make a purchase.
If you're not
show
a pussy,
them your bank statement.
Tell them your social insurance number or fin score.
Tell them your horoscope.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tell them whether or not you're a Leo, and blame it on the alcohol. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you, Kaleigh, for coming on the show. Thank you, Thomas, for fucking around and finding out. And thank you, listeners, for putting up with this.
As we do our outro, Kevin, I want you to pretend you're getting punched and naming breakfast cereals for your Proud Boy initiation.
Oh, sure.
And then just play the song, but let's hear a few as we sort of...
Yeah. Captain Crunch, Fruit Loops, Count Chocula, Tony the Tiger. He's not a cereal. Frosted Flakes. That's what it is.
You're in.